I faced something no soldier should ever admit aloud. My flag, torched on my own doorstep, and the HOA dared to penalize me. They labeled it visual discord. Laughable, because the only thing discarded was them when the army rolled in. Let's go back to the start. Drop a comment with where you're tuning in from today. First, I caught the stench of smoke. Then memory hit. It was acrid, like burning rubber and betrayal. Not a grill's glow, not a bonfire. This was wrong. Not the scent of a cookout or a cozy hearth. This was fabric igniting fast, the kind that shouldn't burn, the kind that screams violation. I was on my deck, coffee in hand, when I froze. The wind carried it from the HOA's shed. Thick, bitter smoke slunk upward, trying to vanish. Then I saw it. A tattered scrap, red, white, charred. A folded triangle hit the asphalt, twitched once, and stilled. I knew that shape. It was carved into my soul. My legs moved before my brain caught up. The mug shattered on the concrete. I didn't care. I reached the dumpster and didn't need to dig. There it was, spilling out. Broken glass, scorched wood, melted hinges. And there, defiant despite the damage, my flag. The one from my final tour, displayed every Veterans Day since I shed my boots. Its case was cracked, frame blackened, one edge of the cloth burned through. I lifted it. It didn't feel like a flag. It felt like loss. I stood in the haze, breathing steady. My hands didn't tremble. My voice stayed silent. But inside, a storm raged. I marched to the HOA office. Susan, 45, looked up. Coral blazer crisp, smirk ready. Clipboard poised like a blade. "Mark, what's this?" I held the ruined case, smoke curling off it. "This yours?" She blinked. "Oh, that's terrible. Was it locked properly?" "Bolted to my railing." She tilted her head. "We voted on community aesthetics. Displays like that need review. For harmony," Susan added, voice syrupy. "That flag saw battle, saw burials. It's not a yard ornament." Her tone cooled. "Let's keep this civil, Mark." "Civil?" I stepped closer. "This is restraint." The door swung open. Jake, 32, sauntered in, sandals slapping, protein bar in hand. Smells like HOA nonsense and stale coffee. Susan sighed. "Mr. Carter, this is official business." "Looks like a cubicle had a midlife crisis," Jake quipped. I kept my eyes on Susan. "You burned my flag." "No one burned anything," Susan snapped. Maybe someone misinterpreted the rules. Jake leaned in. "Torching a war flag, that's not a rule. It's a crime." "Whose rule?" I asked. "The ones you slipped through without a vote?" Susan's cheek twitched, then smoothed. "Mark, you're upset." "Not upset." Measuring Jake chuckled. "Bad news for you, Susan. Army guys don't bluff." We left. Jake tossed his wrapper in the bin, crumbs dusting the floor like evidence. Susan's clipboard didn't move, but her eyes followed us. Back home, Ellen, 60, waited. She didn't ask questions. Her gaze locked on the charred case. "They did this?" "Yeah." She touched the cloth, her fingers smudged black. "What's next?" I set the frame on the deck table, sank into my chair, the one I crafted after retiring, thinking I'd found a place calm enough to bury the past. The wind teased the burned fabric. Smoke clung to my clothes, my skin, my lungs. Ellen sat beside me, silent, steady, waiting for my call. Jake returned. No protein bar, same sandals. Some nations see flag burning as war. I didn't look up. He sat. "You going big?" "Not yet." "I got flashbangs in the shed." "Not yet." Jake leaned back. "Roger that, Sarge." I didn't sleep. That flag wasn't just fabric, it was a vow, a marker, a blood oath. They thought burning it would erase me. But every time I shut my eyes, I saw it blazing, reaching for me through the ash. They didn't just take the flag, they stole something I couldn't grip. The Humvee was flipped. I didn't know at first, just felt the ground shift. I was face down in dust, helmet split, ears screaming. The world pulsed red, white, black, like a dying beacon. Carter was yelling, too close, too far. My arm hung wrong. My chest felt heavy, like drowning in grit. Heat clawed my back, not sunlight, flames. The flag snapped above the wreckage, guarding what remained. I crawled toward it, inch by inch. Past Daniels. His glove was all I recognized. I wanted to shut his eyes, but couldn't stop. The metal seared my hands as I tore the flag free. Half burned, edges curling like ash, but still there. Carter was bleeding out. Too quick. I pressed the flag to his chest. Not to stop the blood, just to give him something to hold. "You kept it," he whispered. Then he was gone. I carried it out. They called it a total loss. 9 of us, 2 walked away. I didn't speak on the flight home. Just clutched that flag like it was all I had. When I hit U.S. soil, I didn't weep or waver. I folded it, stashed it in my pack. That was 12 years ago. When Ellen and I settled here, she asked what I needed. "A quiet deck," I said, "and a spot for the flag." So I built it, board by board. I measured the light, set the frame so the sun hit it at 6 p.m., the hour I'd crash in my bunk overseas. Ellen watched, quiet. The first day I raised the flag, she handed me lemonade and said, "Fits right." It stayed through storms, VA checkups, and the long years of trying to outrun memories my body wouldn't release. Ellen saw the cost, the nights I slept outside, the way I braced when a tire screeched. She never called me damaged. Jake moved next door 4 years back. Loud, warm, the guy who grills in a downpour. He spotted the flag day 1. "Battle flag?" "Yeah. Mind if I salute it sometimes? Mine's got cat scratches." I nodded. He saluted daily for weeks. After a hailstorm, I cleaned the case. Jake saw the back, scorched, torn, stained with blood, not dirt. He didn't crack a joke. "You hauled it out?" "Yeah. That's not just a flag." No, it wasn't. Weeks before the fire, I had a rough night. Dreamed of the blast again. Woke on the deck, shirt soaked, knuckles raw from gripping the rail. Ellen found me at dawn, brought a cloth, wiped my hands, and sat like it was just another morning. That's how she loved me, steady, wordless. That flag was the only piece of war I brought home that didn't haunt me. Until Susan. After the fire, Jake tried lightening the mood. "We need a skunk in her mailbox." "Not yet," I said. He slumped beside me. "So, what's the play?" I stared at the empty deck where the case once stood. We wait. Let them show their hand. That evening, sweeping ash off the boards, a neighbor passed. Mrs. Coleman, 70, HOA devotee, always in pastel scarves. She paused. "Pity about your display. It never matched the trim." She smiled like she'd offered sympathy. I said nothing, but noted her. The wind tugged the flag's remnants, peeling away like ashes. I set a paperweight on it, a bullet casing from my last mission. Ellen stayed inside. She knew I needed the dark. In that quiet, I swore. Next time someone came for that flag or its meaning, they'd regret it. They didn't wait long. 3 days later, a letter arrived. Crisp HOA, stationery, smug smiley sticker. No apology, just a blade inside. Ellen handed it to me, her face unreadable. I opened it on the deck, standing, ready for the fight. Notice of violation. Final warning. Section 5.2, non-compliant display. Clause 10, improper emblems on public-facing structures. Clause 14, ongoing defiance of community standards. This letter is your last notice. Displaying divisive or emotionally charged items violates Maplewood's unity and aesthetic goals. Your refusal to comply is noted. $1,200 fine, $250 daily penalty, 7 days to conform or face legal action, including forced removal via city partnership. They wrote it like a court-martial, cold and sharp. I read it twice. "They're framing you as the bad guy," Jake said. I nodded. "Enemy of suburban peace." He shook his head. "They're cocky with their letters." 2 days later, another arrived. Same seal, smaller envelope, dropped off by a nervous kid in a Maplewood intern shirt. Inside, an invite to the next HOA meeting. Top line, attendance mandatory. Second line, community behavior review. Agenda item 4C. The fine wasn't enough. Now I was their project. I placed it on the deck, face up. Ellen passed, tapped the invite twice. 3 C's meant passing in school. Here, it's a public shaming. Jake grinned. "Should I show up in my old fatigues and blast reveille when Susan names you?" I didn't smile, but didn't refuse. That evening, a third note came, hand-delivered by a stranger. He thrust it at me like it was toxic. "From the board," he muttered, eyes averted. He flinched when I asked about Susan. "She's dodging the spotlight," he said, then fled. As he vanished, he mumbled, "This wasn't fair." The note was stark. "Residents, attendance is critical. The HOA can rule without you if violations continue. Ignoring this forfeits your defense. No jargon, just a threat." I sat on the deck past midnight, eyeing the empty case. I opened my squad's chat, typed a name, then deleted it. Not time yet, but I nearly sent it. That hesitation shook me more than any letter could. I stared into the dark, planning. That near message scared me. It meant I was close to the edge. Ellen came out, draped a blanket over me. "Thinking about the war?" "No," I said. "The last time someone tried to take what I swore to protect." She nodded. "Hope they're ready for what they've unleashed." Next morning, Jake brought coffee, flipped the second letter. "See this?" Fine print, Section 8. HOA may enter properties during compliance crises to remove visual violations. "They're coming for your home, Mark." Jake's words hung heavy. "They're not just fining you, they're invading." I stared at the flag's charred edge. They started with fire. This is next. That morning, Jake pulled up a zoning map on his laptop. Our house glowed red, marked like a target. "Maplewood Enhancement Plan, Phase 3, it read. My address, priority for compliance transition. They weren't just after my flag, they wanted me gone. Ellen leaned in, voice low. "This isn't bureaucracy, it's a purge dressed in khakis." The map wasn't just digital, it bled intent. Jake scrolled, revealing more red dots. Mr. Chen, 78, Korean war vet. His flagpole tagged obstructive. Mrs. Alvarez, 62, Navy widow, her porch planters called clutter. The Thompsons, 50s retired medics, flagged for excessive tributes. Jake clicked a restricted tab. Use phased fines and social pressure to prompt voluntary exits. Social pressure. They wanted us isolated, broken. Ellen's eyes narrowed. They're not managing a neighborhood. They're dismantling lives. I nodded. And I'm their first mark. That afternoon, a car rolled up. Not Susan, not Jake. It was Greg, 52, HOA secretary, always in golf shirts with tiny anchors. He stepped out, clutching a manila folder, glancing around like a fugitive. "I shouldn't be here," he said, voice low, "but you need this." I took the folder without a word. Inside were unposted meeting notes. Susan's words leaped out. "Push hard, he'll crack." I looked at Greg. "What's their endgame?" He swallowed. "Your house, your history, everything." Greg backed away. I was never here, he muttered, then sped off. Jake watched from the lawn. This is getting ugly, Sarge. I flipped through the notes. Susan's plan. Fines to force compliance, then relocation if I resisted. It's past ugly, I said. That evening, I visited Mr. Torres, 80, Air Force veteran. They yanked my flag last month, he said, gripping his walker. Said it blocked the sidewalk. His eyes burned. Never thought I'd fight enemies in polo shirts. Back on the deck, Ellen slammed the folder shut. First, they torch what's sacred. Now they're gutting your peace. Her voice shook. Not fear, fury. We printed every document, maps, notes, fines. Jake sorted them like a war room. Fraud, threats, evidence. I stood in the garage, eyeing my old uniform. My hand hovered, then pulled back. Not yet. Later, Jake found a leaked Zoom clip. He played it on the deck TV, grainy, but Susan's voice cut through like a blade. He's isolated, no allies, Susan said on the clip. We break him slowly. A chuckle followed. Another voice. Will he fight back? Susan laughed. He's just a deck sitter with trauma. I stared at the screen, silent. Ellen muted it. Jake's fists clenched, eyes wet. That moment shifted something. They weren't just after my flag. They wanted every trace of men like me erased from this street, this town. But I didn't flee fire overseas, and I won't dodge a spreadsheet now. I smelled war again. Not smoke, but intent. I called a man whose voice once sliced through battlefield static like a knife. No greeting, just, "You ready to burn it down, Mark?" Lucas, 58, answered like he'd been waiting. His voice was gravel and iron, unchanged. I paused, then, "Need your help?" He didn't joke. Heard whispers. Susan's name popped up. Smells like control disguised as policy. He was in a Wyoming cabin, maps and flags lining his walls. Let's move. Lucas laid it out. 3 fronts. Legal, public, structural. Win 2, the third collapses. Public. Shape the story, make Susan the villain. Ellen grabbed a notepad, scribbling. Jake set up a board, markers ready. This wasn't defense, it was strategy. Lucas named a contact. Major Clara Holt, 47, retired JAG, known for crushing HOA boards in court. I called her. She answered mid-sentence. "Mark, Lucas sent your case. It's rotten. Send everything." I listed the fines, maps, Zoom clip. She listened, sharp. "Don't go loud yet," Clara said. "Let them think they're winning. Build the trap." Her words stuck like a pin. Meanwhile, Jake dug into Susan's filings. He found a second address. Oakview Properties, HQ. Guess who's on their board? He spun the screen. Michael Randall, Susan's husband. Not just corruption. Coordinated land grabs, silent evictions, profit by paperwork. Jake swore. "This is cartel-level slick." I nodded. They're not just after my deck, they're rewriting the whole neighborhood. That night, I opened the garage. My uniform hung there, untouched for years. I lifted the jacket, still heavy, still mine. Then memory hit. The village, kids on scooters, the warning I got through a translator. "Stay back today, danger." I went anyway, too stubborn, too sure. The blast tore the market apart, ripped the road, took 2 of my men. I stood in their blood, a voice screaming in my skull, "You knew." I buried the uniform after, not from shame, from fear I'd become that man again. Ellen stepped in, saw my face. "You're not him anymore, Mark. You're tougher now. You know your fight." We printed every scrap, emails, maps, fines. Jake labeled them. Fraud, coercion, media plan, witnesses. We pinned them to a board, building a case. Lucas called. "This is bigger than you. Ready to go loud?" I glanced at the deck. Jake had hung a new flag, unburned, small. Not yet, I said, but soon. I stepped outside, unfolded the old flag, placed it in a new case with glass so thick it'd take a sledgehammer to crack. I locked it, whispered, "One last fight." But they moved first. At 6:15 a.m., 2 deputies knocked. Hard, deliberate, like a raid. Ellen opened the door, breath catching. "They're not here to chat," she whispered. I stood, slow. The taller deputy spoke. "Mark Thompson?" I nodded. "You've been served." A cream folder, court seal, dropped like a grenade. Temporary restraining order, filed by Maplewood HOA. Effective now. No contact with board members. Stay 300 feet away. No meetings, no emails, no surveillance. Surveillance? I was a neighbor, not a spy. I glanced outside. Susan stood across the street in leggings, sipping tea, stretching like she hadn't just launched a war. She caught my eye, smiled like a librarian. Ellen stepped forward. "This is nonsense." The deputy shrugged. "We just deliver, ma'am." I took the papers, flipped through, jaw tight, typed lies. "Mark Thompson shows growing hostility." Susan's statement. "His demeanor feels threatening." Board member 2. "He watches my house, paces his yard erratically." Board member 3. "His military history suggests potential for violence." My service weaponized. Jake sprinted over, phone out. "This because Mark drinks coffee black and doesn't bow to HOA?" No answer. He yelled across the street, "Hey, Greg!" Greg, HOA secretary, flinched, ducked inside like we were contagious. Susan kept stretching, unbothered, her smile ablade. Inside, Ellen laid the order on the table. Her hands shook, not fear, control. Then, slowly, she tore it, piece by piece, precise, silent, louder than a scream. Jake sat opposite. "This isn't about rules anymore." "No," I said, "it's about control." I stared at the flag case, saw flames. "My silence isn't weakness," I told them. "It's knowing how loud it gets when I speak." Ellen handed me her phone. Clara's text. "They're building a profile. Don't give them ammo." That night, Jake posted the Zoom clip, emails, photos. Susan's smug tone clashed with her cold delivery. By midnight, it hit 100,000 views. An Army vet's post read, "HOA, tyranny's real." They're erasing us. Next day, Ellen found a code violation tag on our deck railing. $2,000 fine. The railing was battle-grade cedar, tougher than any HOA rule. She sat, back rigid, then wept, quiet, heavy, worn. "I can't watch them chip away at you," she said. That broke something in me. I stood, walked to the garage, opened a box labeled Unit Contacts, made 2 calls. First picked up fast. "Noise or force?" "Both." I hung up, staring at the torn order scraps. "They want fear," I whispered. "They'll get memory." The next HOA meeting was public. Susan had her smile, her clipboard. I had more, a scorched flag, a stack of evidence, and allies she didn't expect. The lot was packed, neighbors ready. This wasn't a meeting, it was a reckoning. Cars overflowed the Maplewood Community Center. People stood outside, gripping phones like weapons. Word had spread. This was no routine gathering. I pulled up, tires crunching, no fanfare, just me in dress greens, door slamming like a gavel. Ellen followed, steady in a gray coat. Jake paced by the entrance, streaming live, mic clipped on. "Folks, you're about to see why you don't mess with an Army vet's deck." We walked in together, ready. Susan sat at the head, unprepared. I carried the burned flag case. Jake hauled a speaker with Lucas patched in. Behind us, 2 local vets, Sergeant Lopez, 40, and Captain Reed, 50, volunteered to stand with me. No one stopped us. Susan, in a teal blazer, clutched her clipboard like a shield. Her glasses gleamed, but her eyes flicked nervously. She expected a scene, not a strategy. I walked slow, boots echoing like orders in a bunker. The room hushed as I set the flag case on the podium. Susan tapped her mic. "This is a scheduled HOA meeting, not a—" Major Holt stood, second row. "Then, let's make it transparent with records." Susan's gaze darted to Holt, then Lucas's voice boomed from the speaker. "Evening, all. 4 decades in defense. 0 patience for fake governance." Gasps rippled. A man clapped, then stopped. Susan tried again. "Mr. Thompson's not on the agenda." I cut in, calm, "But I'm in your minutes now." Jake rolled out the evidence board. Jake clicked the projector. The burned flag in the dumpster flashed first, then the violation notice. Phrases like "divisive emblem" circled. Next, zoning maps marked my house for transition. The restraining order. Susan's Zoom clip. "He's just a deck sitter with trauma." Then 20 red-zoned homes labeled planned exits. The room stirred. Chairs shifted. A woman whispered, "That's my lot." Susan stammered, but her mic cut out. Jake grinned. "Whoops." Greg stood, sweating. "I didn't sign off on this," he blurted. Susan said it was temporary. Greg added, voice cracking. Holt raised a hand. "Yet your name's on 4 zoning letters." Greg sank. Someone booed. Susan snapped, "This is a stunt. None of this holds up." I stepped forward. "Susan, I buried men under the flag you torched. My father carried it in Vietnam. I held it in Afghanistan. It survived bombs, then died in your trash." Silence gripped the room. "You tried to break me with fines, orders, lies." People nodded, murmured. I faced the crowd. "How many got fined for planters, chimes, paint shades?" Hands shot up, half the room. Susan fumbled papers. "You signed the rules." "Rules you rewrote last spring," I said. "No vote. Backed by your husband's real estate firm." Gasps spread. Jake stepped up. "I've got texts from board members admitting they targeted homes for Oakview's profit." Susan's voice broke. "This proves nothing." But the room wasn't hers anymore. It was ours. Susan's face twisted. "This is harassment." I held the flag case higher. "You burned a symbol I buried men for. You don't get to cry victim." Mr. Chen stood. "They banned my flagpole, called it a hazard." Mrs. Alvarez rose. "My husband's anchor statue, unclutter," they said. Mr. Torres gripped his walker. "My mural gone, called it vandalism." Susan pointed at me. "You're dangerous, brooding on your deck like a sniper." I nodded. "I'm a sentinel, guarding what you tried to erase." Susan tried to bolt. Clara Holt blocked her. "Stay for the legal part." I spoke. "You targeted men who paved your streets, who bled for your clipboard. You fined us for honor." Jake opened the binder. Charges for misconduct, fraud, zoning abuse, free speech suppression. Lopez and Reed saluted. Lucas's voice boomed, "This is just roll call, Susan." She sat, teal blazer creased, no words. The crowd clapped, slow, then fierce. I turned. "To those who fought, fell, stood, we're still here." The meeting ended in headlines, but peace isn't paper. It's decks. Next morning, I raised a new flag. The air was still, no letters, no footsteps, but mine. I checked my shoulder, habit. The pole gleamed, but my hands shook, not fear, memory. Ellen stood behind, quiet. I set the flag, clicked the mount, stepped back. It caught the breeze, rising like the fight was done. Sun hit it, red like sacrifice, white like hope, blue like return. Ellen watched, silent. Ellen spoke, soft as oak leaves. "You didn't come home after the war, Mark. You came home when the battle stopped." Jake climbed the steps, donut box in hand, grinning. "No live stream today?" I asked. He shrugged. "Today's for quiet." He sat, bit into a pastry. "If this deck needs defending again, I've got sirens. We sat, no fanfare, just boards beneath, breeze above, and something in me easing. Neighbors waved. A kid on a skateboard saluted the flag, kept rolling. A woman left muffins on the rail, slipped away. Then a U-Haul pulled up. Susan, sunglasses on, box in lap. Greg drove, eyes ahead. She glanced at the flag, at me, didn't wave, I didn't either. They rolled out, slow, like defeat. Weeks later, a letter came. Not a fine, an apology. Unanimous vote. Citations dropped, zoning plans scrapped. They asked me to join the board. I declined. Got the best view already, I said, tapping the deck rail. Lucas called. Good work. Stayed home this time, I said. He hung up fast. That night, Ellen and I sat under the stars. The deck creaked, wind warm. The flag rippled, not in alarm, in calm. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it sways, steady, where it belongs. The fight was over, but memory lingered. I saw Carter's face, the blast, the flag in my hands. Not haunting now, just there, like a scar that doesn't ache but never fades. I woke early, coffee in hand, deck cool underfoot. The flag stood sharp against dawn. No more notices, no shadows to check. But I scanned the street, old instincts. Ellen joined me, her mug steaming. Feels different, she said. I nodded. Feels right. Jake wandered over. No donuts, just a nod. Place looks good without Susan's vibe. He leaned on the rail. You ever miss the fight? I looked at the flag. Number. But I'm ready if it comes. Days passed. Quiet. Neighbors stopped by. Mr. Chen with a new flagpole. Mrs. Alvarez with her anchor back. The Thompsons hung a medic's cross, no fines. The HOA sent a new handbook, rules rewritten, voted on. I read it, set it aside. Didn't need paper to know my rights. Ellen watched me clean the flag case, her eyes soft. You carried more than that flag home, she said. I nodded. And I'm still carrying it. The deck held us both. One evening, Jake brought beers, set them on the table. To porches, he toasted. We clinked bottles, he grinned. You scared Susan off with one look. Took more than a look, I said. Took us all. He nodded. Team effort. A kid biked past, waved at the flag. Ellen joined, her laugh rare, warm. The flag caught dusk's light, colors steady. I leaned back, the chair creaking like it knew me. This wasn't just home. It was ground we'd won. Weeks later, Mr. Torres stopped by, walker steady. Got my mural back, he said. Grandkids painting stars on it. His eyes gleamed. Thanks, Mark. I shrugged. We all fought. He tapped the deck. This was the line. He left, humming an old Air Force tune. Ellen watched him go. You gave them more than a flag, she said. I looked at the case, glass thick, flag safe. Didn't give it, took it back. She smiled, faint but real. The neighborhood shifted. No more red dots on maps, no whispers of transition. People hung wind chimes, planted roses, painted doors bright. The HOA meetings were dull now. Budget talks, no witch hunts. Jake livestreamed one, got bored, switched to grilling tips. I sat on the deck, flag above, coffee cold. Ellen read beside me, her hand brushing mine. You think it's really over? She asked. For now, I said, but I keep the uniform close. She nodded, understanding. One morning, a vet moved in down the street, Ramirez, 38 Marines. Spotted the flag, saluted it day one. Jake brought him over. Heard about your war, Ramirez said. Hell of a stand. I shrugged. Just held the line. He nodded, eyes sharp. Mind if I fly mine? Do it. He did, next day. 2 flags now, catching the same breeze. Ellen watched from the deck. Looks good, she said. I agreed. It looked like strength, not defiance. Nights grew cooler. I sat out later, stars clear. The flag's shadow moved across the deck, soft in moonlight. Ellen joined, blanket over her shoulders. "You sleep better now?" she asked. "Some," I said. "Still see the blast, Carter's face." She touched my arm. "You brought him home, too." I nodded, throat tight. The flag stirred, quiet. Not a warning, just there, like a promise kept. I leaned back, the deck solid, the fight gone, but its weight still mine. A month later, Clara Holt called. "Susan's firm's under audit, USD. Oakview's done, your evidence sealed it." I grunted. "Good." She laughed. "You're a legend, Mark." "Just a guy with a deck," I said. She sent a photo, new flag at the community center. "Your work," she said. I looked at mine, steady in its case. "Our work," I corrected. Ellen overheard, smiled. "Damn right." The deck felt bigger that day, like it held more than boards. Kids started saluting the flag when they biked by. Jake taught them the right form, all serious. "Respect the colors," he'd say. Ramirez joined, showing them Marine snaps. Ellen baked for their drills. The neighborhood wasn't just houses now, it was roots. I cleaned the flag case weekly, glass gleaming. Ellen watched. "You're not letting it go," she said. "Never," I replied. The flag hung proud, no ash, no fear. It wasn't just cloth, it was us, unbroken. One Sunday we hosted a barbecue. Mr. Chen brought rice wine. Mrs. Alvarez danced with Torres. The Thompsons told medic stories. Jake grilled. Ramirez DJ'd. The flag waved above, catching laughs, not wind. Ellen leaned on me. "This is home," she whispered. I nodded. Always was, just had to fight for it. Someone raised a glass. "To Mark's deck!" Cheers erupted. I didn't speak, just held Ellen's hand. The flag gleamed, and I felt whole, finally. Fall came, leaves on the deck. I swept them, flag sharp in crisp air. Ellen bundled up, sat close. "You ever think about moving?" she asked. "Nope," I said. "This is ours." She smiled. "Good." Jake dropped by, scarf loose. "No HOA drama lately. Boring's nice." I laughed. "Boring's earned." A girl left cookies by the rail, note saying, "Thanks for the flag." I set them by the case. The deck wasn't just wood, it was memory, carved deep. Winter loomed, but the flag stayed. I checked its mounts, tightened bolts. Ellen watched. "You're guarding it." "Always," I said. She nodded. "As it should be." Jake brought hot cocoa one night, sat with us. "You made this place real," he said. I shrugged. "We did." The flag glowed under snowflakes, unyielding. Neighbors passed, nodded. Ramirez's flag joined mine, a quiet pair. The deck held firm, our ground, our peace, won not with shouts but with resolve. Spring stirred, buds on trees. I painted the deck, flag watching. Ellen helped, humming. "Feels new," she said. "Feels right," I countered. Jake rolled up, bike in tow. "No battles?" "Not today," I said. He grinned. "You're Trouble's magnet," I smirked. Trouble's retired. A boy saluted the flag, precise. Ramirez taught him well. Ellen laughed. "Your army's growing." I nodded. The flag snapped, bright, alive. Peace wasn't loud. It was this, steady, rooted, ours forever. One dawn I sat alone, coffee steaming. The flag stood tall, colors vivid. Ellen joined, her warmth close. "You're up early," she said. "Habit," I replied. She looked at the flag. "It's proud of you." I chuckled. Mutual. Jake wandered over, yawning. "Deck's still king," he said. I nodded. "Always will be." A neighbor waved, another left flowers. The flag danced, soft, free. I leaned back, deck creaking, home solid. Carter's face faded, not gone, just resting. That summer, we sat nightly, flag above. Ellen read, I watched stars. Jake brought stories, Ramirez joined. Neighbors shared pies, nods. The deck was our square, our stand. A teen sketched the flag, left the drawing. "For you," her note read. I pinned it by the case. Ellen smiled. "You're their anchor." I shrugged. "We're theirs." The flag moved, gentle, no fight left. Peace wasn't a word. It was this deck, this flag, this life we held. Years on, the deck weathered but stood. The flag flew, fresh when needed. Ellen's hair grayed, mine thinned. Jake aged, still loud. Ramirez mentored kids. The HOA faded to budgets, no fangs. Neighbors thrived, flags, chimes, colors free. I sat, Ellen beside, flag steady. "Worth it?" she asked. "Every second," I said. The breeze carried laughter, memory, strength. The deck creaked, eternal. We weren't just home, we were the line, drawn, kept, ours, always. The flag agreed, waving soft. The smoke still lingers in my mind, 300 feet from Susan's smug smile, where my flag burned, a scar on my deck. Mark Thompson's war wasn't just against a clipboard-wielding HOA in Maplewood. It was a stand for honor against erasure. 2 lessons rise from the ashes, sharp as a bayonet. First, never let bureaucracy bury what you've bled for. When Susan's fines, $200, then $250 daily, tried to silence Mark's flag, he didn't bend. That scorched cloth, carried 7,000 miles from Afghanistan's dust, held more than stars. It held Carter's last breath, a promise unbroken. Mark's fight, backed by Ellen's steel and Jake's fire, shows you guard what's sacred, no matter the cost. Second, community is your fortress. Alone, Mark was a target. His deck a 10 by 12-foot battlefield. But with Mr. Chen's flagpole, Mrs. Alvarez's anchor, and Ramirez's salute, they turned a neighborhood into a legion. The community center, packed with 200 chairs creaking under truth, wasn't just a meeting. It was a reckoning. Susan's zoning maps, marking homes like graves, crumbled when voices rose, hands raised, and Clara Holt's legal blade cut through. That flag, raised again under a 6 p.m. sun, didn't just wave, it roared. These lessons aren't quiet. They're loud as the blast Mark survived, as the applause that drowned Susan's lies. You hold your ground, not with fists, but with roots, with neighbors who salute your scars. My deck's still here, 15 feet from the street, flag snapping soft. It's not cloth, it's defiance, stitched by those who stood when the world burned. What's worth fighting for on your own deck? Mark's stand against the HOA's flag-burning tyranny shows honor and community can triumph. Have you faced a battle to protect what matters? Share your story below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more tales of grit and victory. Your voice fuels this fight. Join the squad and let's keep the flag flying high. Drop a comment now for more value.